Okay, just finished watching Assassin's Creed, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was alright. I enjoyed myself for the most part. Um, I'm now kicking myself that I haven't watched it earlier. But I guess this is what happens when you just blindly listen to critics. Any critic, YouTube critics, professional critics. I mean, I guess YouTube critics are not professional critics, but you know what I mean. And I'm angry at myself because this is the first time this happened. Let me use an example. Let's take an example. Jeremy Johns. Jeremy Johns' review of Assassin's Creed, he didn't like it very much. You can just tell by the thumbnail. He just didn't like it very much. And at some points, I can see why he didn't like it, but the way he talked about it as if it was just a boring mess. When I watched this movie, this further review, it's really quite enjoyable. There are some few problems with the movie, but as a whole, it was a fun time. And yeah, when I say this is the first time this didn't happen, it was when Jeremy Johns reviewed Robin Hood, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood with what's his name, Russell Crowe. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed the movie, and I was psyched for the movie. I thought, okay, if he enjoyed it, I liked it. I will like it. Watched the trailers, and the trailers were phenomenal. Watched the movie, boring pile of mess. I was actually pissed off that I spent money to watch this boring pile of mess. It was boring. I couldn't even hear what Russell Crowe was saying. The scenes didn't mesh well together. Some plot points just doesn't make... It was just either useless or it just did not make sense. Especially at the ending fight scene where there was like half-naked kids running on the battlefield. And you're just like, why are they running on the battlefield? So there's my problem with that. With Assassin's Creed, it was actually really enjoyable. Now there was one criticism that people told about this movie. Well, one of the criticism is that this movie, if you played Assassin's Creed, you know that there's the modern day and there's the pick an era. The modern day was boring, but the era that the movie is focused on was more interesting. And it is true to an extent, but I would say I did find the modern days quite enjoyable. I found it quite interesting, to be in fact. Now, it is true that the movie focused more on modern day, but it's not like the games. Because in the games, modern day was... It depends on what... for the most part, the modern day is extremely boring and just not interesting, for the most part. When the modern day starts talking about Apples of Eden or the civilization that came before, that's where the story got interesting. But for the most part, it was boring. Desmond... I know people nowadays miss Desmond. I do to an extent. I don't miss the character. I mean, a little bit. I do miss the character a little bit, but I miss... I miss a singular character that the story revolves around. I think I miss that because if you play Assassin's Creed like Unity, Syndicate, it's just you're just going through the motions. There's no main character. You're just going through the motions. Just different people just start talking, and you have to find this shit. You have to find artifacts, blah blah blah. All that shit. But in this movie, it focused on one of the characters. I completely forgot the name, but Michael Fassbender's character. And it focuses on him more. And he tries to find out why he's an upscale. Basically, in the movie, he gets abducted. He didn't get abducted. He was put on trial because he murdered doesn't really deny it. Apparently, he murdered a pimp. And he was put on death row and he's supposed to be killed. But a corporation called Abstergo took him. And because they took him because in his DNA lies the memories of his ancestor. Of an assassin, and they're trying to use the memories of an ancestor to find an artifact called the Piece of Eden. A Piece of Eden, they didn't really explain in the movie, which is understandable, but in the movie they explained it well, but they didn't explain it in detail. And when I mean in detail, I mean as in the artifact was created by the civilization that came before to use to enslave all mankind, as as slaves. But in the movie, they just said it was an artifact to control men's will. They didn't really mention the civilization that came before. Did they really need to mention that? Not really, but it would have been really great if they did. Now, in my opinion, this movie it it was a good video game movie. It honored the source material that it's based on. It was correct, and then the when I watch like reviews, like for example, let's put Angry Joe for example, they didn't like the movie over semantics. It was just, I remember one of the criticism was they said that in the movie they said that the piece of Eden controls the free will of mankind, where the guy, and they didn't like that because in the games they said, oh, they control everyone here, and I'm just like in my head I'm like, it's basically the same shit. What are you on about? But it was weird, but it respects the source material. The Animus, they did some nice trick with the Animus in the movie. They made this Animus into like this contraption where it just grabs you and lifts you in the air, and then you act out the motions. When in the video game, you just need to lay down, like in the Matrix. You just need to lay down. They plug you in, and then there you go. You're reliving the memories of your ancestor. But in the movie, there's a twist to that. Other than that, and I thought it was a really good twist. I find it enjoyable, and plus they did when they recounted the oath of the assassins, I got shivers all over me. Michael Fassbender's performance was really good. Jeremy Irons' performance was really good. Everyone's acting was pretty top notch. They could have done, because I understand when people think it's somehow boring. I don't know if it's the pacing of the movie, because like I said, the movie focuses more on the modern day. I don't know if it's the pacing of the movie, but something about modern day I find it really interesting. At the same time, it drags and it gets boring. So that did happen a lot, but overall, I enjoyed this movie, and I thought as a video game movie, it was a good video game movie, and I'm seeing this trend that if a review or a critic says the movie's meh, then everyone else, the audience or everyone else, in their minds, it means that it's shit. It's just terrible. I'm looking online right now. People say, "Oh, this movie was terrible." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm pretty sure most people say I haven't even seen the movie, but it was actually pretty enjoyable. It's not great. It's not like the fucking Dark Knight, but it's not bad either. It wasn't terrible. It was a fine movie. It was fine, and I don't think it deserves all the hate it got. I think it needs a sequel. I truly do. I want them to expand the mythology more. And I liked in the movie how it doesn't but it's not about the main characters in the games. Like, for example, Desmond or William Miles, or, take your pick. It's set in the same universe, but it's a different story. It tells a different character story. It tells a different... basically different characters, different story. Basically that, but it's set in the same universe. And I think video game movies should try to do that more often. I believe. With a game like this, if it's a game that's heavily is known for its story, like for example, like a Last of Us or Assassin's Creed, I think the correct way is just to take that universe, but tell a different story. Like, I don't know if the Last of Us movie is still going on, but that's what I want. I don't want Joel and Ellie. I want the same universe with different characters. If you want to reference Joel and Ellie, then fine. But the way it was told in the game, even if they transfer it into the movie, you can't tell that story, that entirety of that story, in just 2 hours. And people in Assassin's Creed who made the movie knows this, so that's why they picked a different characters, a different, story to tell. And it worked really well. I truly believe it worked really well. And I'm glad I actually got this on DVD. It was a fun time. If you haven't seen Assassin's Creed and you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, I recommend you watch it. Don't pay attention to critics. Because the last time, I keep saying this the last time, but every time I say that, but then I start listening to what they have to say, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing with, what was it? King Arthur. Not King Arthur. Arthur and the Legend Star. I forgot what it's called. But that new King Arthur movie. People said it was crap. I watched it. It was actually really enjoyable. I really did. So if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed and you need something to watch to take the time off, pick up this movie. It's actually really enjoyable.